Michelle, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Not at all. Thanks for being with us. So what brings you over? What are you up to this week?
So this week we arrived yesterday at the Australian Ambassador's house here at Abbey, and we had the big Aussie barbecue yesterday here, and was an absolute delight and a great introduction to come back to Ireland. My family on my father's side were from Irish descent, so when I come here it feels like I'm just back at home. I can't believe how Irish my dad is, and yeah, it's just great to be back here. I've been here one time before and rode some track work for Aidan O'Brien about 14 years ago, so it's been a long time between drinks, but it's just great to be back here.
And what are you up to for the next few days? Is it very much a sort of diplomatic mission?
So we're doing a lot of travelling around, going down to Coolmore. Tomorrow morning we're going to visit Joseph O'Brien's training setup, and then we're off to Aidan O'Brien's, and then travelling around we're going to head to Godolphin, hopefully head down to the Curragh. There is a possibility I may be able to have a ride there, and I'd love to get to Jessica Harrington's stable if we could fit that in, and if she'd have me, because I think she's just remarkable. So hopefully there's plenty to do, and I absolutely can't wait. So
there is a possibility of a ride this week?
There is a possibility on the Saturday. I'm not going to go too much into it just in case it doesn't happen, but I have received a clearance from back home to ride, so that would be a real highlight if that was to happen, because I've never been to the Curragh. I've heard so much about it, and that would just be absolutely amazing if that was to happen.
Hayley Turner sitting alongside me, somebody I know that you know very well, and the parallels, Michelle, interest me. Hayley and I were talking about, you have a career that is groundbreaking. You're pushing through barriers. You have success at an elite level. Everybody wants that little bit of you. Your career goes in all sorts of different directions. You have highs and lows, and now it seems again you're in a position where you're sort of that little bit further on in your career. You're owning it. You're enjoying riding again. Am I getting the right kind of parallel here?
Yeah, look, I think after winning the Melbourne Cup, the life-changing race that it was 8 years ago now. It's taken me until now to really actually relax, enjoy it, get into a rhythm again. As a jockey, you have one job. You've got to look after yourself, get yourself in the best shape, do your best you can, try to make the most of every opportunity that you have and all of that. And then after winning the Melbourne Cup, my life was just completely obliterated into all different kinds of areas. There was a book that was written, a movie made, just unbelievable experiences. And here he is, Prince of Penzance, when we were able to win our greatest race and beat Frankie Dettori, who you see here is just pulling out behind me on Max Dynamite. He took out most of the field, which probably gave me a bit better chance of winning, and very grateful for him for doing that. But just absolutely unbelievable to win a race. It was a dream of mine from as young as 5 years old, and our greatest race. And you see here, I just couldn't believe it. I was just in absolute disbelief and relief and all kinds of emotions.
And it's you could have changed the course of history still. I mean, you still might be having an impact here, because if Dettori had won that race on Max Dynamite, I think we'd be hearing him sort of do it's definitely the Breeders' Cup where I'm ending. Last night on ITV, I don't know whether he was thinking straight. He was like, yeah, then I'll be on to Melbourne to try and win the Melbourne Cup that I couldn't do on Max Dynamite a few years ago. So you might have prolonged him a little bit further, I think.
Well, I hope so, because we really want to see him down there again. But it was very funny on the day, because I drew barrier 1 and Frankie drew barrier 2, and we were chatting in the barriers, and he said to me, "What are you doing after the races?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to be celebrating. I don't know about you, but you can join me." I said to Frankie, "Just make sure you give Max a good ride, because I'm going to be following you, and make sure make sure you do a good job." And thankfully, he got caught in traffic, and he didn't ride him well on that because I think with a bit more luck in running, he probably would have beaten me. So we hope to see him again. We love him down in Australia, and he's tried many times, and just one more crack at it, I think, he could do it.
And when you did win the cup, obviously you were elated, ecstatic, and it led to so many opportunities, and everybody wanted to know you and talk to you. And you didn't waste the opportunity. You know, you rightly played, you know, quite a few shots about how hard it had been for you to get there, and also how hard it had been for women in the sport in general. I think you at the time described it as you said, racing is a chauvinistic sport, and it raised a few eyebrows, but. Do you look back now and think, yeah, I actually did make a difference and I did change people's attitudes, or not?
Well, the way I see it is, you know, we've got to be given the opportunities to have the opportunity to prove ourselves in races like the Melbourne Cup and Group 1 races around the world. And I was the only sixth female jockey to ever take part in the Melbourne Cup in the 155-year history of the race. So it just goes to show how hard it was to actually just be given that chance. And we've had some incredible jockeys come through the riding ranks that haven't had that opportunity. So that was why it felt like the right time to stand up and say something. You know, I didn't know what was coming out of my mouth at that time. I was so excited. I just jumped off Prince of Penzance, and 5 minutes later they've got a microphone in your face, and I was that excited I didn't even know what I was saying. But I stick by those words because, you know, in the lead up to the Melbourne Cup in the final week, there was talk of taking me off Prince of Penzance, who was a horse I'd ridden 23 of his 24 starts and qualified him for the race and just knew him inside out. And thankfully, in my favour, he had 53 kilos, so the options of jockeys was minimised. And the trainer, Darren Weir, said, look, who are you going to put on? She knows the horse. There's very, very limited jockeys to ride the weight. And thankfully, I had a ride in the Melbourne Cup previously on one of Bart Cummings' horses 6 years earlier, which it gave them a bit more confidence to give me the chance. So many things had to play out to fall that way. And then, the lead up into the race, everything was going so well. Stevie, my brother, drew barrier 1 and the horse was flying. I galloped him on the Friday and I said to Darren Weir, it's the best he's ever worked in his life. It just seemed like it was all falling into place. And yeah, the rest is history. It was a fairy tale come true.
A fairy tale that was made into a movie, Ride Like a Girl. Did you like the movie?
I went in with a very open mind because I thought, you know, I'm going to have to like it. The fact that my brother Stevie got to play himself was the absolute highlight. Teresa Palmer, who played me, was magnificent and one of the nicest people you would ever meet. She loved Stevie. Their connection was just absolutely perfect. So that was really, really special for me. Sam Neill, who played my dad, was absolutely magnificent. He couldn't have been any better as him. So yeah, I thought it was they did a really good job with trying to replicate your life as it is. They probably made our family look a lot nicer than what it was in real life because, there was a bit more mayhem than what they sort of put in the film, but I think that was probably a good thing.
How can it, I mean, you're the youngest of 10, right?
Yes.
So how can it not be mayhem?
Absolutely, exactly right. We had Dad just raising the whole lot of us. My older sisters at the time when my mum died when I was 6 months old, they'd started riding. So my two older sisters were 15 and 16 and they were racing. All the rest were coming through, were training to be jockeys, and everybody was just, you know, on a course, and Dad was just trying to control all of these kids, get us fed, get us to school, support us, everything. He just, you know, what he did is just one of the most incredible things. And he's a very special man.
If you hadn't ended up on a horse, where would you have ended up?
Well, look, to be honest with you, he would have preferred us not to ride, I think, because it was so dangerous. He would have liked us working around the stables because he had free labour, but one of my sisters, she was scared of horses, and she didn't want to have anything to do with them. So she finished school. She became an accountant. She's the smart one of the family and does all of our accounts and our books. So, you know, it was up to the individual, whatever you wanted to do. But it just so happened that we all fell in love with horse racing and the sport and the competitive side of being a jockey. You know, being in a big family, you're always playing games. You're always, you know, in competition. So that was pretty natural for us. And then to be a part of racing, which, as Hayley would know, you know, the adrenaline of riding a horse and being in a field and that competitiveness is like nothing else.
How did you enjoy your trip to Royal Ascot this week?
Absolutely loved it. Probably one of the best weeks of my life. When we come over here from Australia, obviously we have great carnivals and love the way that we do things back home. But Ascot is just so unique, everything about it. When you walk into the grounds, it's just this magnificent venue where you can't stop looking around in awe of the grandstand and just the prestige of it. You've obviously got bands playing, you've got all of the fashion, and then you've got these races and the jockeys and the horses and you know, the highest of quality, and it's just unbelievable to be there. I was pinching myself that I was a part of it, really. And the other thing that blew my mind was that, you know, you have all of these owners in the parade ring so close to the action, so close to the horses. At home, they'd have a heart attack if they had people so close to the horses like that. But I think it just adds to the atmosphere and to the occasion. And I was just so blown away to be a part of it and to be working with ITV.
And of course, Hayley was reminding me earlier that you rode here for a short while back in sort of 2000, late noughty, something like that, 2008, 9, something like that.
Yeah, that's right. About 20. Oh God, I think I was about 23 or something. And I'd met Hayley previously. I'd been over when I was, I think, at 21 or something with Kieran McEvoy, who's my brother-in-law. He was number one for Godolphin back then, and Hayley took me under my wing when I came back the next time and took me to the races a few times and showed me around the weighing area. And just having that opportunity to ride here was just incredible. I was riding out for Luca Kamani and Jane Chapelheim, and they gave me, I think I had about 25 race rides here, and took me a little while to get into the swing of things. I was taking off too late or I was going too early, and eventually I got a winner for Jane Chapelheim at Warwick, which was a real highlight. And then was able to head on over to Aidan O'Brien's after that and had a ride for him at Cork. And I was off to Shanti after that to work for Cricket Head and George Deleuze, and had a few rides over there as well. So it was a trip of a lifetime. And when I got home, I had my first Group 1 winner. So it must have done something for me, I think.
So you're here for a little while. I know we can't talk about it anymore, but there might be a ride this week. What's the plan for your winter, our summer, and beyond? What can we look forward to from Michelle Payne for the rest of 2023?
So I've been I've been trying to set up a really good stable of horses. I've been training now for 7 years. We have a dual license in Australia where you can ride and train, and it's taken me a while to get a handle on it. When I was a jockey, I was always planning ahead to look to riding, and that's why I did come over here to work for some of the best trainers, like Luca and Aidan and Jane and Cricket Head, just to try to learn as much as I could for when I did start training. And I thought, it'd be pretty easy. You've just got to get the horse healthy and well, and I don't want to overcomplicate it and all of that. But when I started training, I'm the opposite. You know, you've got to put so much effort into every step of the way and all the intricate details and running a business. So it's taken me a little while to get a handle on it, but I feel really confident now. We've got a great young team of horses. We had 4 winners last week, the week before I headed over here, and they're all having a little short break to head into the spring carnival. And on top of them, we've got some other really nice horses that are ready to go. So I'm really hoping it's going to be my time to shine this next year, because I think it will be my last year as a jockey. And I've been, trying to find when the right time was to hang up my boots, probably a little bit like Frankie in a way, where you feel like the time's right. So I'm really looking forward to that. I have some very exciting horses, and I just can't wait for it.
Michelle, been lovely to talk to you today. Hopefully see you in Ireland next week. Best of luck with it all, and we'll see you very soon.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.